Bashers, bashers. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Well, it is I, Dirk, solo tonight for at least the first half hour. It's just me, myself, and I. That's right. I'm flying solo, like a has-been rock star, without the screaming fans, pyrotechnics, or questionable fashion choices. But who needs that when you've got bashers, right? Who's in the room tonight? We've got Photo Dave Jacks, M, Scott Wexlin, Ricky McIntyre, Carolyn Martin, hello gorgeous, Shane McGee, Into Preppy, Head Groundsman, and back Bob Sacamano. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, Oisin is he's got a lot of editing to do because he's got so many channels going on right now. But most of all, he's got the Oisin O'Malley channel, which the content of which is so time consuming and so artistic that he doesn't have enough time. So we're going to mix it up a little bit. So hopefully I'll be able to. Oh, hello, old watch lady. Hello, darling. We're going to mix it up a bit and we're just going to basically fly solo and talk to you guys and get some ideas about what you want to talk about tonight. A couple of things I wanted to talk about was one, the incomparable Robbie Robertson died. I can't actually believe it, but it's true. I just thought that guy would last forever. It's just shocking to me. He was 80 years old. So it says Robbie Robertson, master storyteller who led the band 1943 to August 9th. Wow. I mean, the band, who's left in the band? Rick Danko's gone. Most of these guys, New York Times, you can't do anything without them wanting you to subscribe. I don't know how many people out there were big fans of the band. You know, I wasn't for the longest time because my musical taste was completely different growing up. Like, first I was an Elton John fan, then I was a massive Kiss fanatic, and I went the heavier route, and it took me a while. I mean, I always loved the Beatles, etc., but everybody does. It took me a while to expand my musical palette and get it to a place where I thought, was well-rounded enough. And I discovered the band. Not the biggest fan of all of those Bob Dylan records that they played on earlier on. Later on, of course, I succumbed to the genius that is he. But I didn't even know that this guy was sick or anything, and he just looked so forever youthful and all of those things. I just never expected that to happen. Somebody, Blue Dog just said that Garth is the only one left. Isn't that unbelievable? Wow. What are your favorite memories of the band? I mean, The Last Waltz, Martin Scorsese. My favorite part of that whole thing is Robbie was producing a Neil Diamond record at the time. And, Neil Diamond was considered so not cool. I mean, he was You Don't Bring Me Flowers. And, he was kind of, while he was revolutionary in the 60s, he had kind of turned into more like, I Am, I Said, which is, believe me, I'm a huge Neil fan. How could I not be as a singer and songwriter? But he brought him on there not as a joke, but as just like, we're working together. I'm trying to make you cool. And he went in there and he eviscerated everyone as far as I'm concerned. It was pretty much he did a song called Dry Your Eyes. And I remember it being absolutely unbelievable. And if you watch that, The Last Waltz, you'll see it. It was just unreal. Oh, look at this. We got Oyesta, SEK. What is SEK? I don't even know what that means. 10 SEK. Well, thanks. I don't know what that is, but that's awfully kind of you. And beautiful old watch lady. £49.99. We love you, old watch lady. Thank you so much. I love the ladies in the chats. Obviously, it's not going to be as funny because I don't have a sheen to play off of. So I'm going to have to play off of all of you. And if anybody, like I said in my little note, if anybody is photogenic enough and fun enough, send me your link. And hi, Patricia. How are you? I'll send you a link to join the chat, to come on in. Why not? Because the next couple of weeks with iBashers, we're retooling and we're going to try to launch the channel in a bigger way, have more guests, revolve the host between Oisin and myself. And Swedish crowns, le carré, merci. Swedish crowns. I'm saying I don't even have to say thank you in Swedish. How do you say that? Daniel Gutierrez, $2. Did you watch Ush on Tim's stream? That's my Darth Vader voice. Yes, I did. And wow. I mean, you guys all watch the show and you know that I have not been a fan of that guy since the second he opened the door and showed up. I just thought this guy's a shyster, grifter. I was very vocal about it. And, you know, I said it on Bashers and whatever other shows I might have gone on. And I couldn't believe, and this might stir up a little bit of controversy, as they say on the other side of the pond, but I'm not really in the watch game. I'm a watch aficionado. I'm an Omega guy. I love, you know, really old GMTs and Milgauses. I'm a fan. I'm not a big collector, and I'm not in the business of buying or selling watches. So I do not give a fuck. So when that guy showed up, I just said, well, this is he's a Ponzi schemer, jailbird. This guy's got a record. I mean, everything, all the signs are there, and all the aficionados kind of agreed. But then you saw the bulk of all the dealer guys. Now, I know who everybody is because I watch all the streams. I love Timmy's stream. I see people who are on there. Of course, Archie. And then you see all the people that gravitated towards him, like Ratzo, and they were kind of promoting him even after his car got demolished and they broke into his office, that his office disappeared. And I mean, how many times do you need to hear something like that without knowing that this guy is a complete sham? But I saw a lot of I'm not going to name names because they know who they are. People who got into bed with him, they interviewed him, and not Timmy, because Timmy had him on there for all the right reasons. So everybody had him on there as for his watch expertise and his business style and his savvy. And then things came out about him, about his personal life, which is, of course, none of anybody's business, But then they played the other side of the fence. So you have to pick your battles early on. Who you're going to support because you believe in them, and who you don't support because you know that they're a shyster. And that guy, I mean, he's a fraud from day one. But I saw all these big players in the watch game, and I was like, oh, fuck. Some people were very disappointing because I thought that they had way more scruples, and they didn't. So I find the whole thing in the watch world, and I'm fascinated by it as much as everybody is. And if I had a shitload of money, I'd have a shitload of watches, but I don't, because I'm not that ambitious in that particular thing. I like to collect guitars and I like musical things, and everybody collects what they like. I have one or two watches that I really like. Would I like a couple more? Sure. Will I get them? Probably. But I don't look to buy and sell and trade and flip like a lot of people do. But these other guys, they have these big businesses, and why not invite the scammer, schemer, ex-convict guy in? Why not? Because he might be good for my business. So I think that those people showed their true colors, and whether or not people want to continue watching, like I made a joke that it's turned into the real wristwatch, Real Housewives of the wristwatch world, the real wristwatches. People love the drama. And I personally think that the only guy that exposes the drama and does it the right way is Timmy, because he calls everybody out, but he still gets them on his show and he gets them to talk, which is great because he's so benign, because he is a fan. He's not a wheeler dealer either. He's a big fan and he's a big talker, and everybody likes to listen to his show. Archie, all the big guys. I'll never say anything bad about the Pontiff because he's the whole reason why we got into this. Most of us, most people got a Speedmaster and watched Archie, and that's how we wound up loving this stuff. But listen, this show, the iBashers, isn't about watches per se. It's about the watch world and the world in general. So I thought, what a better way to start today's chat out is talking about a thing I saw yesterday, and I was really surprised um, with it because it was Adam Levine showed off his watch collection to Hodinkee. And what was crazy about it was it wasn't like the tacky crap that I thought that this guy was going to have. It was amazing. It was talking watches with Adam Levine. He's got a beautiful home, very tasteful. This guy, I mean, say what you want about Maroon 5. I liked Songs About Jane when it came out. I thought it was a great hard rock record with a commercial edge. I did think he was a bit of a brat with a very flimsy falsetto-y tenor. Didn't love the guy, but and then he got so poppy and did all the collaborations with everybody, and it just got so pop and so tacky. But man, then it got into this incredible collection. Look at these things. Holy smokes. Other than the Rainbow Daytona, which is the lone stupid piece in here. That's just John Mayer had one. They went on tour with John Mayer, so he saw that and he decided he wanted to get one too. And when he finally had the money, and obviously he's got lots of money now, but look at this collection. I mean, my God, the Paul Newman, the vintage GMT. It's Rolex heavy, except for one watch. He's got the, Grand Complication Patek Philippe. Holy crap, look at that thing. So this guy, he's got a collection that is just absolutely breathtaking. And it started out with this watch. Can you believe that? Look at that thing. Absolutely ridiculous. The 6263, I believe, right? The Paul Newman. Absolutely beautiful. And then he moves on to a gold version, the 6263 in gold. Beautiful, classy. And I'm not the biggest Daytona guy because I love Speedmasters, but absolutely wonderful. He's very heavily tatted out, so I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, that's his choice. They're pretty. Then he's got the ridiculous rainbow. I don't even know what the reference is on that watch is because I don't care. As a piece of jewelry, maybe it's beautiful, but I just think it's really super duper tacky and ugly. And this, of course, is probably my favorite Rolex in the entire world, the 1675, faded like that. Beautiful. This is a classy guy with very classy taste. And if you watch the interview, and I think that you should, he really knows what he's talking about. And because he doesn't want to destroy that, what did he do? He got a new one. Really, really good. I mean, it's smart, right? I don't think this is anything compared to the original one. Then he's got a president, of course, and that's just a status symbol. I think that they're ugly, and because of certain associations, I hate it. This thing, 5970p, wow. That is an absolute killer machine. Look at that thing. Adam Levine, who would have known? But the real thing was, check this out. He collaborated, and I think forgive me for not knowing the name off the top of my head. It's called the Artisans de Genève, right? And he collaborated with them. They obviously got a hold of a Daytona. I don't know which model, but they did a Paul Newman luminescent dial with skeletonized subdials, bright green day glow, indices and markers, and the entire thing, the bezel, the everything white on this watch is luminescent. Really, really super cool. He also collects a lot of cars. So he's a pretty cool guy. I mean, it changed my whole opinion of him. I had no idea. I had no idea at all. Apparently he's a big Instagram guy. I don't know much about it. And Instagram's not my thing. I feel like a pedophile being on there, being a man of my age. Default asks, would I own a Rolex? Absolutely. I like the Milgauss black dial, not the big Z blue fan, and I love the vintage 1675. I love that. Yeah, I'm basically an Omega guy, but I do love certain Rolex too. How could you not? They're beautiful watches. DC and LV says this collection could easily be part of John Mayer's. Well, they're friends. They're definitely friends, and they've toured together. I think John Mayer was instrumental in getting them the opening slot on their very, very first tour. And their first record, I don't remember that one, when it gets cold outside and you want somebody to love. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Harder to Breathe. That was a great tune. I remember when they came out, I said, oh, I like this. I bought the record and I liked it. I think This Love was on it. This love has taken its toll. That was catchy. I liked it. But then they just got, I don't know, what was the thing with Christina Aguilera and a lot of, I don't know, a lot of weird stuff. This music, that kind of pop doesn't resonate with me, but that doesn't mean anything because I'm a, washed up wannabe has been rock star from the late 80s and early 90s. We threw everything but the kitchen sink at it to no avail. Sure, we've got great stories and got to do a lot of cool stuff, but this guy, he hit the big time, and I like what he did with his money. His house is beautiful. I mean, if you see that house, I mean, you can't see it. Looks like Tara from Gone with the Wind. It's really quite beautiful. He's very tasteful, and there's his watch. That's a classy collection. There's no junk. There's no junk to be had in there. So yeah. Hit the Apex says, look at that. Not a single Rolex movement you could see from the front. I know, right? Well, it also has an exhibition case back, which 6 months ago you would have been able to say that Rolex doesn't have either, but now they do. Two models on the I always forget the name. Was it 1930? What is it called? 1932, 1931? The new Cellini and the new special edition Daytona has one, right? Yeah. And Timmy says you might also want to check out Breitling Super Ocean 42mm. It's a nice chunky macho watch. Who are you saying that in context to something, Timmy? Oh, you guys are having a little chatty chat on the side. I'm gonna have to get in on that. I'm all by myself, so I can't read the way I usually do. I usually read while Lachine's talking. How is Laverne handling the inhaler? Well, I think I might have said I had to go get this thing called the AeroCat. And luckily, knock on wood, she has not had any kind of respiratory issue since the hospital visit. I time her breaths per minute, and it's been well within normal. And the only time I would consider using it, being an asthmatic myself, I mean, I have one on my desk. I've got a bag full of them kicking around. Do I use them all over the place? No. You use them. They're rescue inhalers. You use them when you need them. Have I abused them? Yeah, sometimes. And when I'm doing a show, yeah, because I'm afraid. But asthma is a tricky thing. Lucky for me, I don't have it. It's not a daily thing where I'm suffering from it. And hopefully hers is the same. So if she has another one of those episodes, I have the $1 million device now, and I'll use it. And she's pretty cool. I don't think she's gonna make a big deal out of it. But hey, if I could get 2 puffs of it into her and it works, great. So yeah, I think so. Thanks for asking. Dirk, any plans to go to Venice? Not this year. This year is the year we're being tested. We're got a lot of issues going on in New York, family things, untied loose ends. We got to get going, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Next year for sure. I mean, I think I've made it plainly clear to everybody that Paul and I have aspirations to move to Italy within the next couple of years. It's been a dream of ours for a really, really long time. I kind of had it with here. I just got to make sure all the ducks are in a row, and kind of, lived here forever, and it's maybe time to make a change. Venice is only 2 hours away from where I'd want to move to. It's also a town on the water. It's a beautiful little town called Fano, and it's in Le Marche, and it's beautiful. Yeah. So, Dirk, do you have any acoustic guitars? P.S. Your patter is good. Oh, thanks. I do. Can I? I've got this. Yeah, I have. I have like 16 guitars. I collect these Japanese instruments called angelicas. They're very hard to find, and they were built in the 50s and 60s for Japanese students, but they were super high quality. And they can be had for, well, they used to be able to be had for a song on eBay, but things have changed. I've gotten a lot of my guitars on eBay. I've got my Gibson Howard Roberts Fusion on there. A lot of stuff. That's a 74 deluxe reissue replica hoo-ha, and that's a Japanese Strat. I also have what I usually have behind me, I don't know where it is right now, somewhere in the room, is my 1998 Telecaster American Deluxe, which I got for $700 on the wall of Guitar Center, because nobody wanted it because the color was so weird. Meanwhile, it's the best version of the instrument that they make, and that's the machine that I use for everything. Yeah, so I have a lot of acoustic guitars. I've got 12 strings. I've got a guitar that I keep in California, in Nashville tuning all the time, which is where you string those strings real high. It gives you a nice shimmery thing, but it's fun. Can we see Laverne now? She had a meal and she's having a nap. Yeah. So we got Dirk as a musician from YT. What do you think of Zakk Wylde and Yngwie Malmsteen? I have a funny story, not about Zakk, but about Yngwie. Zakk Wylde, too many pinched harmonics. Squeal, 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 squeal. You know, he does that. Do I have one? Yeah. Do I have a pick? So Zakk Wylde, which is the easier one to grab? Zakk Wylde does this all over the place. He goes. And he does it in every solo. This is nonstop pinch harmonics. Squeal, squeal, squeal. We used to call them pig squeals. He's a very good guitar player. Obviously, he's had a lot of success with Ozzy. He's not Randy Rhoads. He's not Jakey Lee. He's the third guy. Yngwie Malmsteen. When he first came out, I thought, wow, what's that? So did everybody. And then, of course, all he does is diminish minor runs. However, when I was 20, my band was being signed to Mercury Records, Polygram. And the guy that was signing us left the label. So we were stuck at the peril of whoever was left. And we get in there, and this guy's, his name was Jim Lewis. I can say he was because he was a cunt. He wanted to pull me out of my band so badly because he didn't like the band, but he liked me. And he said, you should sing for Yngwie. And I was like, oh, God. You know, I really liked the singers he had, Jeff Scott Soto, Mark Bowles. And I was in that wheelhouse. But I was like, oh, I'm really happy where I am. I had a couple of situations where I could have jumped early and been in other bands. But it wasn't my thing. I like to write, and I like the people in my group. And that was probably a very stupid business move. But anyway, I was invited up to the offices. I sat in a room with the maestro, and he was eating something out of a bag. Like, I don't know if it was peanuts or popcorn or whatever. And he was just sitting there, and the other guy did all the talking. And then they told me that Yngwie was going to sing a couple of songs on the new record. And if I was to join the group, I would get to do like 5 or 6, and then he'd have guest vocalists. And I said, oh, this doesn't sound like a very interesting collaboration. And he would just be like, no, it's not collaborative. You'd just be a hired singer. That's all. And $250. We'll give you $250 a week. Well, I said I currently am a deli clerk, and I slice bologna, and I make more than that. You guys have a nice day. So that is definitely what I think about Yngwie Malmsteen. Listen, he's got some great shit. He's a very capable player. He's a big sloppy mess now, and so I don't think about him hardly at all. But yeah, I love Gibsons. I love Tellys. I love guitars. Oisin and I never talk about music, really. And, you know, we could, but we might bore the living shit out of you because we don't want to get too inside on stuff, you know, technical and geeky. And we don't want to do that. when you're a musician and you're in a band, you have stories to tell. And people in general love to hear, like, he toured with Van Halen. Amazing. Eddie Van Halen used to hang out in their room. You know, I opened up the first show I ever opened up for, the first show I ever did as a professional musician. A lot of people know that I was in a band called Anthrax, but that's unfair because the truth of the matter is I was 14 years old and I knew a guy who knew Scott Ian, the guitar player and founder of the band's girlfriend. And they were looking for a singer when they were a local band in Queens. I was a student of Ronnie James Dio and, stuff like that. So I went and I auditioned for them. They liked me. I sang with them for about 6 to 8 months in this famous place called the Jamaica Music Building. And so this is more because this is not so inside. I'm not talking about the gauge of strings or any boring crap like that. So I started rehearsing with this band, Anthrax, Scott Rosenfeld, now known as Scott Ian. And it was a bunch of different guys. But then this band from San Francisco, who was managed by the same guy, a guy named John Zazula, managed Anthrax. He also managed this band from San Francisco. And he also signed them to his label. And they were Metallica. They moved in. And it was Dave Mustaine, Ron McGovney, Kirk Hammett was not in the band. They did not have Cliff Burton. He was not in the band. He's now deceased. And I remember Scott said, "Oh shit, listen to that. That's the future of metal. We should be doing that." And then I was gone because I was much more of a classic rock, hard rock metal singer. I didn't know how to do the yeah, right. And that's what they were going for. In the end, they wound up getting a singer who was more like me after one other guy. But it was fun, and I've seen him through the years, and he's always very nice. He wrote about me in his book, and I have some great memories about that. Those are fun stories, but like we try not to get too inside. We try to keep it to a minimum because it could get really, really boring for a channel to start talking about, ridiculous lifestyle things that we experienced. If you can't, relate. Here's a funny one. And he and I are going to have a big chitter chatter on this shit. Hey, Dirk, this is the original fame. You guys all know who he is, right? He's brilliant. Hey, Dirk, you going to see Kiss on December 1st, 2nd, or both? I don't think so. I mean, as Kiss as I am, and as Kiss as I know, and as Kiss as I do, it's in the rearview mirror for me. Going to see Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer, God bless them. I would have fired Ace Frehley and Peter Criss too. I totally would have, because I don't do drugs and I'm not an alcoholic. These guys don't show up for gigs. I would fire them, but I don't want to see that. Paul's voice is shot. A lot of it's on tape, Oh God. I mean, as a singer, if you're having a bad night, you're having a bad night. I've had bad nights. As I got older, I don't have enough rehearsal and I don't sing enough. So the older material is a lot harder for me. So it can be a struggle, but I'd much rather hear somebody struggle through something than see them fake it. I have on one of the tabs, I have talks about people who lip sync in music. And my big problem with pop in general is like, here's my analogy. I'll do Sheen for a minute because he loves the analogies. In the 50s and 60s, when Elvis came out, the parents of the kids who listened to them said, "Oh, that's crap. We like Perry Como." And then the Beatles, and they're like, "Oh, we like Buddy Holly and Elvis." And then the 70s was like Zeppelin. "Oh, well, we like the Beatles." All the younger generation's music was crap to the generation that came before them, right? This is the first time in the history of the world that it really is crap. And the reason why it's crap is because it's fake singing, auto-tuned, melodined. I've been through this. I'm not going to bore the shit out of you. Live, it's completely in the toaster is the industry inside, and that means it's used to be on a ADAT, or it used to be on a mini disc. Hey, I don't mind if you have the orchestra on playback. Okay, it's just something to make the show a little bit better, like like fire, and like Kiss has bombs, and now Katy Perry does too, because that makes sense. Taylor Swift should not have pyrotechnics. She's Beyonce shouldn't. It's stupid, but it just makes the show, elevates the show. But when you're out there and you're going, and it's unbelievable singing, but you're not doing it, or the guitars are on tape, or that's just bullshit. So, see, we'll have our big Kiss night. We will. But for me, I stopped caring in the 80s. All the non-makeup records, most of them, at least the first couple, three I like, but then it just got stupid. And I just became a machine. Listen, I'll love them forever. I keep up with it, but I doubt I'll go see them. I won't go see Queen with Adam Lambert. As great a singer as that guy is, and he is an exceptional vocalist. As a singer, I'd be nuts to say he's not. He's just not the singer for me to see with Queen. He's a little too. Freddie Mercury was flamboyant in this macho way. He would go to the mine shaft with his hat on and probably suck off 1,000 guys in a bathtub full of piss. He was a dirty bitch, but it was all on the down low and it was all nasty. Adam Lambert's like a drag queen, and I could watch Drag Race. I don't really need to see him flitting around being feathered on a chaise lounge by muscle boys. He doesn't get what the Freddie Mercury act was. Freddie Mercury was a man who had a dirty secret and was the greatest rock frontman that there ever was. Adam Lambert is technically a far better singer than Freddie Mercury. I know that sounds like sacrilege, but he is. Freddie was often shitty live. He missed the notes. He was flat. He was smoked too much. He was out at the anvil all night long, doing God knows what. Coke, lots of blow. Terrible. In the 80s, Freddie became a vocal god. He had stopped doing that. He had his boyfriend from Ireland that he lived with. He settled down. He got his mansion in Kensington. And then the vocals were incredible. A kind of the Magic Tour, the works, absolutely great. Adam Lambert, God, great singer. Absolutely horrible in Queen. It's just gross. So no, I don't think I'm going to go. I don't know. Where is it? Like the Garden, probably. Like it's the last, and it's the last show they'll ever do until somebody writes a bigger check. But drop the mic. Yeah. So yeah, that's my story with those guys. I just, can't really deal with it. What else we got? We got Scott Wexon. Hope your kitty's feeling better. She is. It's a day by day thing. I don't get much sleep because I'm up watching her all night long. But she's been, I think the catalyst was she's allergic to chicken. And, she's 14 years old. It took me this long to figure out that all that crap was happening. She's vomiting a whole lot less. She does have a lot of hair pulls, though. I know it's summer. And, yeah, I don't know. Photojacks Dave, barely a novice here, but I have 7 electrics. Yeah, me too. I'm not even a guitar player. I'm a singer. I write songs, and I'm a decent guitar player. I could pull it off if I had to. But yeah, it's like Rolex or Omega or Patek or whatever. Hublot if you're on a different channel, isn't it? It's everybody's got their own, collectible things. I love to collect these Angelicas. I can't grab any right now because they're behind my backdrop. Because there's a window behind me. Yeah, I'm always looking at guitars. The watch thing is that they're just so. Even when I have the money, I feel guilty. I feel really, really guilty about like spending that kind of money on a watch, even if I know what I know is that I could flip it. But I'm not a flipper. I don't sell things. I was really into bicycles. Had a lot of bicycles. I sold one and I never lived it down. I felt horrible about it. So I don't know. That's how it goes. Turn Clyde right. You gotta turn Clyde right. I like that name. Dirk, I know you like smells. Which perfume? Well, perfume in a lady fragrance. I like, my favorite is First by Van Cleef and Arpels. I like Joy by Jean Patou. for men, my favorite is Yves Saint Laurent M7, which is discontinued. I have about an inch of it left, and I bought some counterfeit ones, and it's really sad. And I haven't settled. I wear 4711 every day. It's clean, it's German, it's easy to get, and it costs nothing. You know. Stevie C. Hey, Dirk, more music stuff. Hey, man, you know, I could talk a dog off a music truck, you know, talk a dog off a music truck. Hey, John Puleo. Ciao, friends. Ciao. Come stai? Glad to see you guys going live more often. Yeah, we're going to do that. And, you know, tonight we're doing it solo by me, having just a chat with you guys. I will be doing more of this, and I will have guests on. I have a lot of really fun friends and smart friends. I have my friend Jay, my friend Anthony Smedili, who's the funniest person in the universe. He's the first guy I know who left New York and went to LA. I don't know, in like 88 or something like that. And he had 3 major label deals with a rockabilly band, an acoustic band, a metal band. The guy's so versatile. He's a drummer. He collects, ready for this? He collects Eismans by now I'm getting a little specific here, and I'll keep it brief. It's the Paul Stanley guitar. It's a very funny Ibanez guitar. He collected those. I think he had like 20 of them at one point. Anyway, he's on, and that guy gets the joke. I just talked to him the other day, and we were laughing our asses off. But thank you for the 1999. Glad to see you going live more often. I got the call for my skipper picking up mañana. Wow. Very excited. Where are you getting it? Tell us more. Tell us everything. Daniel Gutierrez, $2. That's an impossibility, right? You know, that's like it changes from day to day, right? And picking a favorite album. I mean, my favorite artist is Kate Bush. My favorite Kate Bush album is The Sensual World, but that doesn't mean I don't love all of her records. I do. I love them all. I'm a big Beatles fan. Abbey Road is my favorite album. I'm a big Kiss fan. Their first album is my favorite album. I mean, it changes from day to day. I'm a big fan of this band called Jellyfish. But you know, I think what are the top 5 albums of the world? I think they're the ones that are the top 5 albums to you. I think that's the only way you can judge it, because music is subjective. It's art, you know, it's just art. Watching Tim Rufus, you'd be surprised how musically knowledgeable Sheen's audience is. No, I certainly don't doubt it, you know. But like he and I have had sidebars about getting too technical and too inside on certain things. You know, you don't want to bore people. I don't want to bore Old Watch Lady because I adore her, on Carolyn Martin. You know, they might know how to, you know, rewire a Mesa Boogie amplifier, and I don't know about it. It's very, very possible. But I just don't. I don't want to bore anybody. You know. Nathaniel says Dirk has a Wikipedia page. Yeah, I don't know why, but I do. Spanish says Kiss stinks. Well, yeah, we've been living with that forever, my friend. And this guy says Thayer smokes freely. Well, he does, technically. He does. But who wrote those? Who wrote all those parts? Not him. Tim Wright loves analogies. I do too. Sheen's great at them. OC says, unfortunately, Poi's voice is too shot even to struggle through it. Have to rely on tracks. Unfortunate. See, that makes me not want to go, because why would I want to go see a fake show? Hey, I've had a bad night or two. You know, you push through it, change it around a little bit. You know, Paul's just got to stop all that really high stuff. You know, the love God, he's got to stop all that stuff and bring it down. You know, or they should tune down. Those guys use no effects. You know, there's nothing going on. But then it's just, I feel bad. Anyway, Dirk, people love lists. Isn't that great? Like Rolling Stone puts out lists, and I go, I don't want to scream. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 5 best guitar players. What? Jazz, rock, what? I don't know. I don't know. The ones you think are the best. I don't know. I think it's all different every time. I mean, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Brian May. all those guys, all the guys that you think, mostly Jimmy Page, even like the sloppy people. I love this. Blues Dog 64. Cardi B's a hell of a singer. She threw her mic away and was still heard singing loud and clear without moving her lips. Yeah. My favorite thing about Cardi B was we were watching TV one night and a commercial came on for like a dildo store. It was like an adult shop. And it was like, welcome to something video where you can get peep shows, meet people for fun, buddy booths, got toys galore, got boy butter, all this stuff. And it's me, Cardi B. I'm appearing live. Act now and get a free toy. She was doing like commercials for like a dildo store. Like after she was really famous. Like, like when a girl, like a slutty broad gets a deal with the local strip club, appearing at Gallagher's or whatever, flash dancers, she does porn or whatever, he does porn, whatever, Chippendales on the opposite end of the spectrum. She was doing, just goes to show you the caliber of her audience. She was doing an in-store appearance at the dildo store. And I apologize, old watch lady and Carolyn Martin, for uttering those words. This is a fun mix-up. What's your take on Michael Jackson's tour, which didn't happen? Did you guys watch that movie? Oh, God. I'm a big believer in the fact that Michael didn't do anything. I think he was a stunted child. I don't believe any of that shit. I watched the tour. Wasn't it great? And I'm not the biggest Michael Jackson fan. I'm like more of a Prince guy. I think Michael Jackson's a little overrated. He did have, Rod Temperton, and he did have Quincy Jones and Steve Lukather and Eddie Van Halen, a lot of great stuff. But he was great, of course. As a kid, he was untouchable. But man, it looked great, and he sounded good, and there was no tracks. He was singing it. You watched it during the rehearsals, Yeah. So Dirk, all the problems you highlighted, rock trace back to Blink-182, the worst band in the. Yeah, I couldn't name a single solitary song by them because they suck, and I hate that music. Dirk, how did you like the actor that portrayed Freddie a couple of years ago? Freddie, i.e. Freddie, not why. Yeah, he won an Oscar. He was great. The movie was absolute garbage, completely fictionalized. Like Freddie Mercury discovered he has AIDS, and then he gets all of his strength together and puts on that one final amazing performance for the ages. But the fact of the matter is he didn't have AIDS yet. He did Live Aid. It was right during the Works tour. It was before A Kind of Magic. Then they did the Magic Tour, and then they did the Miracle. He got sick about 2 years later. He got found out he was HIV positive 2 years after Live Aid, and he got sick in 1990. So that was all bullshit. Completely concocted. The story with Jim Hutton, I know everything about Queen. That's my problem. I knew too much. It wasn't written for me. It was written for the general public. So, but that's what movies are for. When you know too much, like Interstellar, what did Kip Thorne think about it? 'Cause it was based on his paper. So I don't know. I thought he did a very good job. And as far as works of fiction go, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't have a problem with it. Gem Hater. It's Dio on Stargazer. Listen, I met Ronnie James Dio when I was 12 or 13. Me and my friends used to tailgate bands, and we met Black Sabbath at their hotel. One of my friends, Larry, is a very big rock photographer. Larry Moran is amazing. He does everybody. He told him, he's studying to be a singer. He loves you. And we became fast friends, pals, backstage. Even when I was in Anthrax, I brought the guys in Anthrax backstage, and he was great. The greatest guy in the whole wide world, the nicest person in the universe. We lost touch over the years, but Stargazer. I mean, my God. Yeah. I appreciate the thoughtful commentary. You listen, OC, when we're Kiss fans, we're targets. I'm a Kiss fan forever. I was a Kiss fan since I'm a little boy. I know all those records upside down. I even know the Hot in the Shade bullshit, and I don't like any of that stuff at all. But like for example, because I'm 8 years older than Asheen, he knows nothing about Kiss. And then there's the Irish American thing too. We have so much in common because we love so much. Like, I don't get Radiohead. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Do I think that they're good? Probably. I just don't think it sinks in for me. Kiss was before his time. He doesn't get it. It's probably stupid. Like he doesn't get Pee Wee Herman either. We didn't talk about Pee Wee. Look at those. His show in that movie. I saw the Broadway show. It was devastating to me. So, like, I think depending on where you're from and what time and what era you're from. Now, I have a problem with kids nowadays when they say, "Oh, that's before my time." Oh, I don't know anything of the Beatles. What? Oh my God, I don't know. Like, I know who fucking Joey Heatherton is, and I know who, every weirdo from the 50s and 40s and singers. It's all about your level of interest. Now, if you're going to go through life with blinders on, you're going to be just a less interesting person. To me, an interesting person who says the one thing that I just look at them and I go, what? Like, out of nowhere. I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was a guy I know, and I didn't know him all that well, and I mentioned a record that nobody knows about, and he goes, "Oh my God, that's my favorite record." And now we've been chatting like crazy. I think it's all about your level of interest in the peripheral. Like people think, oh well, Dirk's a metal singer, right? So that's his thing. No. I studied classically. I love opera. I love classical music. I love some jazz, vocal jazz. I don't love all the scootily wow shit. But because I was interested, I love to watch Broadway shit if it's good, like not the new stuff. Like, we're gonna say everybody's overpronouncing all their words. That's how everybody sings now, and it's horrible. But like Lerner and Lowe and Stephen Sondheim, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Rodgers and Hart, sure, all that stuff. Because I was interested, because I'm a singer, musician, wanted to know a lot about stuff. But you see Tiffany, Amber, Bethany, and Madison, and they're at the bar, like, oh my God, I want to get Mark, blah blah blah, and they, a song comes on, and it's Cat Stevens. She's like, Cat Stevens, what's that? How do you not know who Cat Stevens is? Just be interested. Be interested all the time. And if it's something you don't know, look it up. I do all the time because it might be really, really interesting. I don't know. What are you guys talking about on this side? Tom Ford. Okay, here's a problem with I'm all over the place. So this is my first time, so forgive me. It's my first time alone. Should I make some masturbation references? I'll refrain. Tom Ford. I'm a big fan of Tom. He designed M7. He designed Gucci Eau de Cologne, Pour Homme. I love that. Discontinued. I have made several purchases in the Tom Ford world, and they're so expensive, and they all dry down to powder on me, so I can't wear them. I've actually given them away. Neroli Portofino is the only one that worked well on me, but the Oud de Tobacco, very close to M7, but it's gone. So, yeah. What's my opinion on the 50th anniversary Snoopy? I'd like one. Sure. Brothers and it's funny. Exile on Main Street. We know the girl that's now singing in the Rolling Stones. I don't know her well. I've met her, but she is a friend of our gang. Everybody in the side. Oh, John Paleo, he's back, right? Got the skipper from Toronto, Walt Whitman Mall. You probably know. Oh, you went to the Walt Whitman Mall. You're from Long Island. Oh my God, that's where my longtime guitar player and collaborator Jim Bakke is from. I've been to the Walt Whitman Mall many a time. I'm a Queens guy. Yeah. Original scene. Yeah, I mean, I won't bore you all again, but agree with Dirk's Kiss 97. All their best songs are on that record. Of course, there were great songs later on, but like the classics that anybody who knows Kiss really well, they're all on that record. The record didn't sell. Best Mem7 clone homage. She's talking about the Yves Saint Laurent fragrance that I love. Well, when Sheen comes on, if he comes on in a little while, I'll go grab it. I actually have an original, and I have I bought a counterfeit, and it would cost a lot of money, and I was pretty pissed about it. I don't think there is one. I have not smelled anything like it, so I've officially given up, and I'm wearing 4711, which is a $28 eau de toilette that's from Germany, and I love it. Because I give up. I give the fuck up. I've written letters to Yves Saint Laurent saying there's a tremendous community. All of the original formulations are for sale on eBay for $1,000 for a cologne that costs $75 at Saks Fifth Avenue. So if they don't see the market potential in that, then fuck them. I'm done. So that's what I want to wear, and I can't. I have an inch of the original one left, and it's special occasions, and I'm not gonna bother. Daniel Katz. Hello, Daniel Katz. Daniel Katz sends me a lot of interesting things. I don't always respond, and I apologize, but I don't know what some of them are. I don't get the connection, but I always tell Asheen, I go, he's a fascinating guy. I sound like Jiminy Glick. Ooh, he's fascinating. And
speaking of fascinating, I made my own segue.
Oceano Valley.
Hey man, what's the topic of the evening?
We're just chit-chatting. We started out with we talked about watches for a while and music for a while, Robbie Robertson for a while, and I'm basically just talking to the gang, talking to everybody on their chats.
Oh yeah.
And it's been pretty funny and very, very interesting group. I'm trying to get to the best. Everybody wants to know what's your top pick. And I'm like, lists are for
the superlative questions.
Yeah, I just think
if you could only have one watch, if you were stranded on a desert island and there were only one record, it's always the superlative stuff,
Well, like a lot of what's your top 5 favorite albums? I just don't think that exists in the real world, because
anytime, of course not, especially not for us. Anytime I see these people like Tom Cruise or whoever on the red carpet, and they're answering every single question from every different network, and they have to keep doing the same blurb over and over again. And the questions are always like, it's extraordinary what you did in this movie. What was the craziest moment, or what was the hardest moment? They're constantly being asked superlative questions, and I would literally take a pencil and lower my head down on it. I wouldn't be able to get through it at all. I don't know how they do it with a big fat smile on their face.
Yeah, I don't know. Travis Watts, $10. This may be odd, but I enjoy listening to classical music while working out. Why wouldn't you? I mean, there's some great stuff to choose from. Listen to Hans Zimmer during my cardio workout. Well, I don't think either of us would say that's a bad choice.
Well, Hans Zimmer has a lot of build, and there's a lot of that aspiration in the music, and I'm not sure it has it has more rhythm than most classical music. I'm not sure I would even categorize Hans Zimmer as classical music, but I suppose there's strings, so there's orchestra, brass, and strings, so people think of it as classical music. But there's quite often there's a rhythm, there's a pattern.
Yeah,
that keeps going. If you're on the treadmill, you need that rhythm. You can't be listening to.
I mean,
what are you going to do? Stop on the treadmill? Jump off the treadmill? And then
I don't know how you would do that. I don't know how you would do it. Nathaniel says that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that we're talking about Rami Malek. He was a decent Bond villain. He had no screen time in that movie. Nathaniel. Did you see No Time to Die, Oisin?
Yeah.
You did. Did you like it?
Listen, Casino Royale was it.
That's it. Yeah.
Was it. After that, I'm like, meh.
I did like Quantum of Solace, and everyone hates that movie, and I absolutely loved it. I did think Skyfall was an absolute piece of utter rubbish, and it was a Batman origin story movie. And
what about No Time to Die?
I liked it. I just thought...
I didn't know Matera, Italy was one of the oldest cities in the world. I did not know that.
Because nobody talked about it until that movie. Now it's everywhere.
The place must be jammed, packed.
We watched one of this super queenie dude has a channel, and we watch it just to get annoyed by him, flit around and be annoying. He's like, we're going to Matera, and it's going to be fierce, and blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. And it was a fucking zoo. Packed to the,
it's like Santorini. You see the photos and it looks perfect. And then you're actually there and there's 300,000 people standing on top of each other. You can't fucking see anything.
You went, right? You've been there.
I was in Santorini, yeah.
See, I have not been there. I went.
She went up to the top for the sunset, because the sunset is magnificent. I fucking stayed in the apartment. I passed out. I was drinking ouzo. Ouzo for lunch and dinner. I had ouzo in me the entire time.
Ugh.
I was fucking hammered my entire time in Greece. I had the best time of my life. Greece was amazing. Those islands were amazing. But she goes up to see the sunset. She comes out. She says, "You missed the most amazing thing." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, but like 900,000 other people didn't miss it because it was probably mayhem up there." And she goes, "Yeah, this was before lockdown. I just can't handle it, when it's packed." Matera was in the movie. I just saw a thing the other day. They built a mini Matera. Is that what it's called? Madeira? No, Matera. Matera. They built a mini one with lights behind it to make it look like it was in the middle of the night. You know when she steps out and she lights up that little piece of paper and lets it float away?
Sure.
That's a fake Matera. That's a stage set.
That's why that movie cost $250 million to make.
I was having this conversation with Lydia, my daughter, about, this shit comes up on TikTok and on Instagram all the time, about the things they do in movies to just make things seem, they may be sitting on a train and you see movement and the light going. They're actually not on a moving train. There's just people outside waving these cardboard things just to make it look like things are going by. And I was like, you know what? It's truly, filmmaking is make-believe. It truly is. It's Punch and Judy, just on a large scale, right. Isn't it? Yeah. And she's completely aware of that, studying film. She's going to be a great director, I think. That's my hope, anyway. But she's like, "That's exactly what it is, Dad. It's all make believe, and never forget that." I'm like, God damn it, because we want to believe it really happened, and it's great to see the Oppenheimer and things like that where they're actually setting off bombs. Apparently, by the way, Diego, who's on Tim's stream, was disappointed by the explosion, the famous Trinity.
I haven't seen it, but from what I've been told, he's the only person that was. That's like getting disappointed with the twister in The Wizard of Oz because it was made out of a cotton spool on a hanger. Dorothy, it's a twister.
Let me ask you something. Why didn't they just use original footage and enhance it? There's original footage of that explosion. Is it okay to just, you're talking about an historic event. Go back and just show us the fucking, no?
Is there footage of the actual test? You mean not of Hiroshima or?
No. But there's probably footage from the Enola Gay. There was probably a camera on the back of the Enola Gay taking, August 17th, taking footage of that. But there was definitely footage of the Trinity experiment. And obviously it's old shit, but I don't think the audience mind. Like I did it with that movie I made for the band, Mr. North, years ago, the Everything movie. We were in high def, super widescreen. But then a lot of the footage I used, the animals and all of that stuff, was kind of in low def, but it didn't matter. It kind of gave a grit to it. You know what I mean? I think the audience are very forgiving if they're watching IMAX quality and then they're showing something in like low quality, but it's the original footage of that fucking explosion. I think Chris Nolan still has things to learn. I feel very grand giving that guy fucking lessons, but
you should give him a shout and tell him you should say, "I have copious notes."
I'm sure many do. That guy's a fucking super genius, so I'll stay away for now.
He's the Spielberg of his era. He's that guy.
He might be the Kubrick of his era.
He's way more commercial though. He knows how to, he's way more commercial. And I don't know, because he did Batman and all that stuff.
Right.
Kubrick was just
that kills it a bit, I think. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Not that they're not great movies, because
they're amazing. They're amazing, but it does kill
The Dark Knight is amazing. I don't know about the other ones. Batman Begins, I remember I just Chris, I'm not a big fan of Christian Bale. I just think he's an asshole. I think he's a talented asshole.
Nathaniel, today is the anniversary of Nagasaki.
Boy,
throw the saddest thing about
the party.
Yeah, man. The saddest thing about Nagasaki is it was kind of incidental.
Yeah.
It was like, try another one. Try test 2. And they're like, where are we now? Where are we flying over? Oh, some town. Fuck it. Drop it. boom, Nagasaki.
Is that true?
That's true.
It was
Hiroshima.
not
Hiroshima was the first one. That was the big one
yeah.
to send the message. Nagasaki was an afterthought and almost by accident.
I did not know that, and that is.
I mean, 200,000 people eviscerated in half a second. It's pretty.
Was the second bomb of a much lighter quality of?
No, they're both 12 megatons, 12, 13 megatons, which is nothing in comparison to now. You know,
Well,
that's fucking chump
Tsar
change.
bomb and all that stuff. Whatever that rusty little twat over in Moscow's got in his arsenal.
I know, man.
Get some 3-in-1 oil to see if any of them work. I think
Tim
we should
Wright
just
in
call
the
this
room.
bluff. Tim Wright.
Keep up the great job. Upvote and support. Tim, we're going to be shooting over to you in an hour, man, or a little less. Thank you so much for moderating, especially that Dirk was by himself for the first hour. Thank you, Dirk, by the way.
Did you keep all the meanies away from me? Look, he did it without me even knowing about it.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he absolutely
People
did.
were calling me a homo, and they were saying that my skin tone was bad, and nobody said anything about my fierce new haircut.
Actually, I love it, man. Let's see that up close. Let's see it. Dude, that looks sharp. Yeah, you have a great face shape, man. You're blessed with that nice.
I'm a fat cunt. I need to lose 20 pounds tomorrow.
You're not
totally fat.
Dude, men in their late 50s. Men in their late 50s want to look like you. They want to look like you. Most of the guys I know in their late 50s don't look anything like that.
That guy is going to be 50 in September, right? I'm telling you, there's a thing, this magic thing that happens when you turn 50. You can't drop the 20. You could do it tomorrow. Well, you're 49. You'll be able to go on quit the booze, quit all that shit. Tomorrow, 2 days from now, you'll be 20 pounds lighter. Something about this threshold of 50, when it happens to you, you're like, wait a minute, I haven't eaten in 3 days and I gained 2 pounds. Your metabolism just goes stop. And I was doing through the pandemic, I was running on my Wii Fit every fucking day. Like every single day.
That's true. We were talking all the time. I'm sitting on my couch gaining weight like a motherfucker. You're there on your Wii Fit going, hey, how's it going?
Well, it broke. And then I stopped. And then I didn't. And then my yoga studio shut down. Then my yogi died. The healthiest, most beautiful guy I've ever seen in my entire life. Died of some... He was just turned 40. He had just had his second daughter. He was the son of the woman that runs the yoga studio. They're from Croatia. He was the most beautiful creature. I mean, he was so physically absolutely beautiful. Beautiful inside, but physically, he was just the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen. Got a weird bump on his leg, and he had some strange knee cancer, and it was stage 4 bone cancer, and he was dead within 6 months.
Do you see? You see? It's the old Bill Hicks thing. Yul Brynner versus Jim Fix. Jim Fix was the jogger who was jogging every day and ate tofu and never smoked or drank. Yul Brynner, smoking, drinking, doing cocaine, fucking girls. They both died at the same age. And it's a big joke. It's a Bill Hicks joke. Go look for it. It's fucking hilarious. They're both in heaven at the same time. And, you know, Yul Brynner is like, yeah, I smoked and drank and did all this stuff, and now I'm dead. What about you, Jim? And Jim was like, well, I went jogging, and then I went jogging, and then now I'm dead. Shit.
He had a massive heart attack in Central Park while he was jogging.
That's right. Benzo. Oisin, props for telling TPG what he needed to hear. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
I watched it, Oisin, and I talked to them about it. I was like,
how was it? I mean, I know your opinion of him. Yeah,
but I reiterate.
How was the?
I mean, it was like.
Did I do it? Did I do the good job?
Oh! You took him to church. I mean, hard, so hard. I mean, it was the tough one. It was hard to watch because you were like fucking blasting the guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, and he had to sit there and take it. And then to hear the way he tried to, it was just the Ponzi fucking grifter bullshit that all those guys. First, he has this big cry down, I'm sorry, hookers. And he said he dared to say, well, why should I go shovel shit or go to rehab
Right.
when I could put what I know. You don't know shit, and you called him out of it. Obviously, your knowledge of business and watches doesn't work because it all went up your nose and up your ass or whatever hand jobs
Right.
you were given, whatever. You called him out on that because he was just going back to this kind of script that's in his head, saying, "This is how I'm going to dig my." He's going to dig himself out with other people's money again. No, he needs to be shut down yesterday. And
It's
I
like
did
it's
call out.
like kidnapping children and
Yeah.
going off to some other state and then calling the FBI and going, "Look, I have the kids. I'll bring them back." The FBI will be like, "No, tell us where you are. We'll get them. You know?
Yeah,
We'll fucking, you're in cuffs, and we'll pick up the kids that you kidnapped. You don't get to bring them back." You know, it's like, no, you have to step out of the equation now because you're the problem. This guy wants to bring people back in and make their money back. Oh God, it's like at a casino, you know.
Unfucking believable. I was like watching you truth bomb him and then watching him try to squirm out of it in the most fucking pathetic way ever. It was so hard to watch. So hard. I mean, because, you know, the truth hurts, man. The truth can really, really hurt, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to mention something on the channel. I wanted to do a public thank you.
Oh, here we go.
Beautiful Michaela.
Oh, Michaela sent you
You're
coffee.
amazing, cool, funny, charming. So glad to work with you. You know, she does the Watch Fashion Police with us. She sent me a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful note. Michaela de Chatillon. And
I'm fucking jealous.
Look at this. Crema Espresso Classico from Julius Meinl. Look at this. Oh my God. I love this. I'm so excited to grind this up and make coffee. But look at this big, beautiful package. This is huge. It's 2 pounds of coffee. Michaela, I am so honored to share the stage with you on Monday nights with you and Oisin, because I think you're a future YouTube superstar. And I just think you're one of the most beautiful creatures. Thank you, darling, very much.
You know what Michaela has? She's consistent, man. She's there every Monday, Saturday, usually Friday or Saturday before she reaches out and says, "What's our topic? What are we doing?" So I can do my research so she can go and Google the shit out of it and know what she's talking about and contribute. And she never fails. She's, other than that weekend, she was on a holiday, which is fair enough. She never fails. She's fucking there to show up. God bless her. How many have I tried with? You know, Chloe, fucking Blondie, all car crashes. But she shows up. She's great and she's solid. She's beautiful. She's got a strong opinion. And yeah, she sent me coffee too. Just out of the blue. There, I get coffee.
I got a FedEx today.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was a note on the back of one of the things. She's like, "This is better than all the Italian coffees. Sorry." Like, okay. And actually, it is beautiful. I have a problem though. I keep making it in a French press, right? And it's so smooth and creamy that it's not giving me enough push. So I keep adding.
It's Crema Espresso. Did you get the same one as I did?
I got different ones.
Different ones, plural.
I got 2. She sent me 2, yeah.
Wow. Look at this scary thing. Watching time. Rufus, I had a massive stroke at 51 and was riding a bike 10 miles a day. I thought I was in good health. You never know.
There it is.
We're so sorry to hear that. And we're so glad you're here with us. And holy shit. Did you guys hear what happened? Did you hear what happened?
That's great info because people never tell you that info.
No.
He just gave us great info and people give you the other info. Oh, I was a drinker and I had a liver problem and I was at the you know
I
what?
did
Everybody
10 rails
dies.
of Coke a week. Yeah.
Right.
It was the
non-smokers die every day. You know, this is the thing. So it's a kind of important info. Yes, you should be healthy. You should take care of yourself. You know, watch out. Look left and right when you cross the street because that's as important information as don't smoke, don't drink.
Yeah.
Because you could be the fittest person in the world and then you don't look left when you step across the street and then you get hit by a car. Boom. It's gone.
Don't ever smoke in bed.
Does anybody ever smoke in bed?
Yeah, people smoke.
I think my dad used to.
After the rides. in every movie.
Oh, smoke after sex.
Yeah, that's the big thing in movies. And there's a great song called Julie London, Don't Smoke in Bed. And anything that comes out of that woman's mouth sounds like pure sex anyway, because she's like the sexiest vocalist ever. Speaking of strokes, Rufus, we're very happy that you're with us, and we hope you've had a full recovery. How old are you now?
Fantastic.
And tell us more. Did you hear that Nico McBrain had a stroke in January, and he's on tour right now?
Nico McBrain, for anybody watching, is the drummer from Iron Maiden, a very popular metal band. Yeah. He had a stroke. Well, what age is he? What, 70?
He's 70, and he's the oldest guy in the band. And people were commenting that he didn't seem to have the energy he usually does. Now, if you're in Iron Maiden, it's a high energy metal show. So, and he's a high energy, but he's 70, age, blah, blah, blah. Well, he finally came clean. He goes, thanks for your concern. And by the way, he's playing really well. He said, I had a stroke in January and I lost feeling on the right side of my body, but I worked on it for a couple months, and thanks. I'm happy to be back on the road. Their singer had throat cancer. I mean, what the fuck? How do they do that? How do they fricking do that?
Bruce Dickinson, the singer of Iron Maiden, is one of the mysteries of the world. He's one of the miracles of the planet Earth. The guy is so accomplished. Yeah. He can fly a 767,
747,
400. There you go.
That's what they had.
He's flown he flies his own band around. He's a rock god on stage. He's one of the greatest metal singers of all time. Sure. And he beat cancer. And there are many other accolades that he has. Too long to list. This is Nico McBrain, probably the nicest guy in the band.
Probably. He's a sweetheart. Yeah.
And he's a big wine guy, big enophile. He loves his wine. Yeah.
He owns a bunch of like chicken and rib places in Florida. He lives in Florida. And I believe that he found Jesus Christ a couple of years ago. I think he's a born-again Christian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair enough.
But he had a stroke, and he's back on the road. By the way, Bruce Dickinson sings better now than before he had the throat cancer. So, what the fuck?
Bruce Dickinson is a miracle. I don't know
that guy
what the hell.
Do you know he doesn't fly anymore? You know why? Mandatory retirement.
Why?
Because
why does that happen?
He's 64. At 65, you are grounded.
Yeah, okay. Well, your eyesight is bullshit at that point.
Yeah, you are grounded as an airline pilot. You can fly privately, but you cannot fly commercially.
I just love the fact that he flew his own band and crew around the world, took off his cap and his uniform, changed into ripped jeans and a t-shirt, and got on stage and sang to 50,000 fans. This is the guy who truly lived. Benzo. I keep using this saying, but it fits. What timeless? What's his name?
That I don't know.
The timepiece gentleman, is doing to concierge perfect. If you owe me $5, it's your problem. If I owe you 5,000, it's my problem. Yeah, it's a very good. I've heard that phrase before. If you owe the bank $5,000, it's your problem. If the bank owes someone 50 million, it's their problem.
TPG, that piece of garbage. How's that?
There you go. That piece of garbage. That's perfect. There you go. Renamed that piece of garbage. I'm going to text that to Tim right now.
He's listening. Is he on live now?
He's probably on live. Yeah, he's on live. He helps in the first hour because that's when all the true trolls are doing their work, you know. They've got nothing else to do. As Michaela said privately the other night, they're so in love.
Oh. What am I drooling about, Nathaniel Hannon? What am I drooling over? Who? The piece of shit? Not my cup. He'll tell me privately or in a text message. I can't text you right now. You know why? Because I use my iPhone as my camera for streaming now. Because I have that 48 megapixel iPhone 4 Max Pro Super Deluxe, whatever. That's why my picture quality's gotten so much better. Because Ashim was like, try the phone. I'm like, really? Should I do that? He goes, it looked so good when my connection went out and I went on my phone. Remember when my internet went out and I switched to cellular? He's like, dude, you got to use the phone from now on. I mean, I could go get a camera. Yeah, it came out.
No, it looks fantastic. I wouldn't change a thing.
No,
I like that your little filter there, your whatever magenta filter, whatever it is, tinted filter.
I have it on quiet background. That's what it's called. I use this program called Camo, and it talks to my phone wirelessly, but I use the cable because I want to make sure it's charging. And it makes my phone talk to the computer, to StreamYard. And it's got some really, really, I could switch all the frame rates. It's very cool. I don't endorse them and they don't pay me, but it's a really great option if you don't have like the high-end Canon setup that you use.
Daniel Gutierrez, are you really going to have TPG on your show? Listen, if he makes it through the 30 days, because at the end of the confrontation, I said, you should come on the SWAT show, and it truly will be serious watch talk. And, I'll give you 30 days. Or he said, I can't remember who said 30 days. Maybe he did. And so if he gets there, and if he's still paying people off, and if he's making progress, he probably will come on the show. Will I be kind? I don't. It might be like David Frost versus fucking Nixon, but it's it'll happen. It'll probably happen.
I just think that he should be banned.
Nathaniel was talking about the coffee. It's a comment
okay.
from 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's very true.
By the way, the packets I did get 2 coffees. They were small. You got a huge one. She loves you more than I.
Well, thank you.
That's why I'm jealous.
Should I crack open this vacuum seal here so I can smell it? You guys can't.
Dude, it's going to give a beautiful aroma throughout the entire room.
I would love that. I actually have my I can't do it because this is
coffee removes all smells, by the way, guys.
Well,
if you have a smelly fridge and you can't find what the hell it is, open a bag of unground coffee, just coffee beans in the fucking thing. It will remove everything. It's wonderful.
Oh my God.
Andrew, are you coming down with a cold? You send a bit off. Do I send a bit off?
Oof.
Do I send a bit off, Dirk?
No.
I
was doing my best sex when I was solo earlier. I was really up close and like.
Well, you're nice and intimate. I do that on a Friday night.
Yeah. So why don't you start unbuttoning that blouse and having that sherry? Sit back, light a cigarette, and let's talk.
Andrew's so charming as well. It's like meeting a girl going, "You look tired. Did you get enough sleep?"
He's like, Andrew's like, "Are you okay, baby?
Did you wash your hair?"
Oh my God, this is pornographic. It smells so chocolatey.
Yeah, very chocolate profile. That's what I said to Michaela. I was like, it's got the chocolate profile that I like. But I keep loading up the grinder heavily because I want that coffee punch, but it's not doing it because it's so I think I'm over caffeining myself because, is that a word, caffeining, over caffeining? Probably not. I'm pushing too much. Over caffeinating. Thank you. I'm pushing too much into my bloodstream because I'm looking for that coffee sour punch almost, and I'm not getting it. And I love a little cream, just a little bit of cream, just dropped into that. Boom! It's a coffee experience. I want to swim in it then.
So I made a mistake the last weekend. And it was, I keep a can of Ely at work behind the bar for myself because I'm not a big fan of coffee we have. And one of the owners said, "Hey, would you make me a coffee?" And he goes, "What are you drinking?" I said, "Oh, I'm having a Shakerato." And he's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's an Italian iced coffee." And he goes, "What's in it?" I said, "It's just coffee. How do you take it?" He goes, "I like my coffee black." I said, "Perfect." So I made him a Shakerato with Ely. He loved it. And he instantly wanted to put it on the menu. He's like, "We got to do this." I was like, "Okay, well, here's the options. A little bit of simple, but it's an iced coffee. It's not American. It shouldn't have flavors or all this kind of stuff." All the girls wanted, "Can I have it with oat milk? Can I have a Shakerato with almond milk?" I was like, that's the end of that.
They've turned on to Shakerato already?
Well,
didn't know that they knew it.
Well, they know it because I opened my big mouth. That was the mistake.
Oh, I see.
I made one for one of the owners, and he loved it so much. He said, I want to put it up as a special today, see if it sells." And we sold 1 trillion of them. But everybody's like, "Oh, can I have one with agave and almond milk?" That's not Shakerato.
No.
which, by the way, guys,
Shakerato is espresso, ice thrown in, and shaken to shit like a fucking margarita.
That's it.
And that's it. And sometimes you have some ice shards in there that's escaped through, but that's it. And it just cools you down. It's very nice. It's slightly watered down. Have you ever heard that classic phrase? I like my coffee like I like my women. You know, you ever hear that, right? You hear that all over the place.
I know,
right?
the other one. I like my coffee like I like my men. Black.
Whoa. And there's the one in the film with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. I like my coffee like I like my women. Dark and murky.
But
there's a great...
what is that called?
When they're stuck out in the wilderness. It's a brilliant film.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's such a great film. Such a great film to come back to. Fuck, the name is gone. So I did a thing on it with watches because I can't even remember. That'll tell you. It's fucking late. Because the watches are a huge part of that narrative, by the way. Anyway, there's a thing going on. The Edge, thank you. The Edge, WJ74, you're the man. The Edge. And there's a thing going around now on TikTok and Instagram with a sexy girl with a coffee in her hand. And it says in the background, it goes, I like my, usually she has a heavy chest. I like my coffee like I like my women. Big tits. it's just all over there's so many variations of big tits. It makes no sense, but it's kind of calling out that whole, Row Zero, thank you so much for $20.
Row Zero.
Just joining. Cheers, gents. Cheers, man.
Right. We don't even have to peddle the dildos. We were talking about Cardi B earlier. About how like when an actor comes out and she does like an opening at a store or whatever, when a musician, they go to Sam Ash. When Cardi B became famous, she went to like peep shows and did like in stores.
Well, she used to be a stripper.
Shows. Well, yeah.
That's how she made her first money. She used to strip.
She's like, I remember this commercial on TV. It's like, welcome to the Bronx, right? It's the best place. Come here for video screens. Come meet a buddy in the buddy booths. We got glory holes and dildos are your choice. Mention my name and get a free toy.
No way.
Like, and she was appearing like that Saturday. And it was on like the local channel. I was like, fuck, doesn't that girl have like, oh, and by the way, we were talking about lip syncing. We talked about a lot of crazy shit.
Okay.
She has Grammy Awards.
I don't have a problem with that woman. She's pretty badass.
No problems with her. I'm sure as a creature of her species, all of that. But once again, I think we've gotten a little crazy about giving out awards for excellence when that is obviously cannot be portrayed in any way.
We've been living in that world for a long time.
Oh, I know we have.
A lot of talentless assholes got a lot of awards.
But give them the MTV Awards or American music. The Grammy Awards, like I told everybody, I think a couple shows ago, I wrote an open letter about Milli Vanilli. They owe them an apology. They do, because that guy killed himself over the lip sync thing, and now everyone does it. So, if you're gonna do that, do it. But there's people. There's Lady Gaga. There's Adele. They don't lip sync. They don't do it.
Adele does not. Lady Gaga does not.
Pink does not lip sync, and she's doing fucking aerial shit. She's doing all that Cirque du Soleil crap.
She's flying around over the crowd. Oh my
God, she's a great singer. And then you have, all the other ones. You got.
There's a clip of Pink on Howard Stern. She has her full band, and she has her backing singers. And he's like, "I'd love to hear that vocal part without the band, just the singers." And they rock into it. It's a great clip. They just do it, and wow, the professionality is beautiful.
She's got a sick band. Your brother's friend is that guitar player. That guy's amazing, Justin.
He's really good friends with that guy, and that guy always tells him about how well Pink treats them.
Yeah,
Adele also treats her band very well. Enrique, we know, doesn't so much, and so many bands don't. When there's no gigs on, there's no retainer. Taylor Swift just gave all her truck drivers, there's like 40 of them. She gave them all $100,000 bonuses just the other day.
Dude, I have it ready to go. I had this ready for a chat tonight.
Okay, let's see it. That's
Look
funny.
at this. Yeah, I had this ready to go. Taylor Swift gives life-changing $100,000 bonuses to her Eras Tour truck drivers. Guys, she gave away $100,000 to 50 truck drivers.
Oh, 50. I guessed 40. I was off.
50. So she gave out $5 million. That is.
She gave the earnings of one of the nights, one of the concerts.
I mean, is that
I'm
even
not. I don't want to detract. No, I don't want to detract. She's good. She's good. She's a good woman.
She is. I mean, let's just see what it says right here.
Like, think about that. These are people she never meets. Like, she doesn't meet anyone except for her MD and her band.
Meet.
No, she doesn't meet her truck drivers. In fact, the news wasn't even delivered by her. It was by her father, who's been her manager.
Yeah. It says the Taylor family is always present and kind to our drivers, but Scott generally doesn't lead the meeting, Scott being her dad. Scott gave a speech saying that he had discussed this with Taylor and that they thought it was only right that everybody received a bonus. Taylor insisted on writing a handwritten note to each driver and added a wax seal on the envelope with her monogram. That's a little much. Each envelope stated the amount of the bonus. The drivers didn't want to be overly rude and look at it, but it was $100,000 each. And the checks were given with corresponding tax documents. Now, if she was George Clooney, she would have paid.
She would just give a backpack of cash.
Yeah.
Which is what he did.
Yeah. He gave them all a suitcase full of cash. Yeah.
They went to dinner. And it was a big long table, Italian style. Mm-hmm. And there were backpacks. The thing you hate, right? Backpacks. And they were filled with $1 million in cash each.
Right.
I'd be so that guy. That would be my favorite day of the year. If I were that guy, I'd be like, I want to give, because all I want to do is give. I hate receiving gifts. Like, somebody gives me a gift, I feel awkward and weird, but I love giving, I want to give to everyone.
Yeah, it's great.
It may be perverse. I don't know what it is.
I'm the same way. It's tough. It's tough.
I don't know what's behind it, but I just love giving. And I'd be that guy. If I won so much money, if I earned so much money, I'd be like, there you go. There you go. It's like, fucking spread the joy, man. What the fuck is it? Like, why would you just keep all that joy to yourself? There's no point.
Somebody won, by the way, $1.57 billion in Florida in the Mega Millions today.
Oh, really?
Last night.
Shane half of that is tax.
Yeah, they're going to get $750 million. She paid for train stations to run late after a delay in a storm at her concert. She wanted people to get home safe. Is that true? Can you do that? Can you pay a train station?
She played in the pouring rain, but I mean heavy rain. There was rain in everything, in her guitar, in her piano. She played the show anyway. I mean, a lot of players will be like, it's dangerous. There was big, heavy storms here. Laura Pausini played in the piazza, and they had to cut it all down, break it all down. She played anyway. Good for her. But, it was a broken down show. But Taylor did it anyway.
I mean, Taylor Swift has the luxury of much of the band's equipment is wireless, so they're free from electrocution. Right. But all the backline stuff is all plugged into big time voltage.
Yeah,
that is big. That is not 110 in the wall, kids. These are.
I wonder. Yeah, I wonder how they. I wonder how they figured that out. If they ran the exact same show, or if they ran a broken down show. If there were certain parts that are like, we've got to turn the screen off because the screen is sucking up so many volts, and just like we can't fucking risk it because someone's going to get electrocuted. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you look at the scale of Taylor Swift's show, have you seen what Metallica's stage looks like on this?
Nathaniel makes a good point. There were probably Louis Vuitton backpacks.
They probably were.
Metallica's show is very interesting, and there's crowds all around it.
Yeah.
It's like
their lighting is on these 10 video screen light poles, very well thought out and so clean. And they said it's completely and utterly weatherproof.
That must be a thing. It has to be. If you're going to up your game, that has to be a thing. Where shit is just super safe. Now that we have LED lights and so on, it has to be low voltage. Anyway, good for Taylor. That must be nice. Truck driver. These guys are just hauling this shit around America right now.
That's a house in Alabama. That's a house in Ohio. That's a house in Virginia. It's not a house.
A lot of these guys just paid off their house. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember with Van Halen, they took our gear. They took a shine to us. They loved us, you know, and they saw the struggle the struggle we had following that band around America. Jesus, was 2-hour drive. Sometimes we couldn't party with them. Fucking what's the bass player? What's the bass player of
Michael
Van Halen?
Anthony.
Anthony.
You talk for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So he comes in and he's like, come on, like, we're all drinking Jack Daniels. And we had to say no on one of the nights because the drive from one show to the next was a 2-day drive. It was literally a 40-hour drive, and we'd barely make it for sound check. Meanwhile, they had trucks already on the road, probably already setting up in the new venue. And of course, the band take a private jet. But we were in our fucking van with our gear. We're like, we better get on the road now. So we arrive at the sound check in time in 2 days. I can't remember which drive that one was. It was probably like, I don't know, Texas to Vegas or something like that. I don't know. But they took our gear. They were like, you guys go, you get on the road, we'll break down your gear and we'll stick it in one of our trucks. You know, they had 40 trucks at the back. Like, our gear constituted like 1/18 of like one little corner of their trucks. And when we get there, by then they knew our setup. So we'd get there and all our shit would be set up already. Their crew are like, well, this is easy. You know, this is cakewalk. We'll do this at the very end, you know, of setting up the rest. We'll just set up Mr. North stuff. Boom, easy. Old school, you know, bass amp, guitar amp, drums, boom, keyboard. And we'd get there and all our shit is, you know, it's all taped on the stage. So every position is marked out perfectly. They were great. That tour was just craziness, man. Who else is in the room? Spaniard. That's what the blow is for. Still a decent audience. How was Dirk? Now he's gone for a minute. How was he? Was he good? I was editing. I'm trying to put together a video about Federico, his reaction. But not just about that shit. I don't want it to be about the drama. I want it to be about consigning watches and the lessons to be learned, and about social media and this whole frenzy in social media with watches. So hopefully it'll be powerful episode. My Battle of the Beast just went on pause for just one day for it. Oh, great to hear, guys. Thank you for that input.
What'd I miss?
Nothing. We're just talking about you. Are your ears ringing?
No, they weren't. You're talking about Michael Anthony and Van Halen stuff.
Yeah.
Michael, what's his face? Wolfie Van Halen. I mean, he's making a big name for himself right now. Good for him. Very talented guy.
The son of Eddie Van Halen.
And Valerie Bertinelli.
Yeah.
Good for him.
She was so gorgeous, man. I was so into her.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was. She was America's sweetheart.
How do you spell her name? I want to pull it up.
B-E-R, Valerie, V-A-L-E-R-I-E. Bertinelli, B-E-R-T-E-N-E-L-L-I.
There she is. Italiana.
See.
There's a lot of photos of her the later years, but I'm looking for the early years.
You want when she was a girl she was a big Elton John fan. On the show, she was always dressed up like Elton John. She was a big fan.
She was such a cutie.
Oh yeah. One day at a time. One day at a time. What are the lyrics to that? One day at
I can't find a photo of her like a decent photo from back then.
Right, one day at a time, Valerie Bertinelli.
Okay. One day at time.
Well, the theme song was written by John Barry. Get the fuck out of here.
John Barry?
That's crazy. It can't be the same John Barry.
That's gotta suck. Your name is John Barry, and you're writing music. It's like, there she is. Cute
Oh,
as the
yeah.
button.
Sure.
So cute.
Yeah.
Lovely couple. She had to put up with his antics. My God.
I mean, how not fun must that have been?
Yeah. That guy's a fucking maniac. He came into us on the first night of the tour. He walked straight into the fucking green room with his tongue out, his big black tongue from the cancer and the smoking. And he had tanned 5150 into his chest. And he's like, I'm 50. I was like thinking, fuck, he's so in shape for a 50-year-old.
Oh, the guy was in shape. He was like ripped, but he was so wiry his whole life. You know, but that's a lot of coke too. Those guys did a lot of blow, Van Halen.
Mark Gerard, can't wait for Dirk to go solo later. Okay, great. I'll just bow out when we go back to Dirk. I'm a distraction here. You guys are having fun until I fucking came in.
I told them that we're mixing the channel up. I'll be on, you'll be on, we'll have the guests, etc.
Well, you can finish it off tonight. I don't mind. That's fucking great.
We'll
fantastic.
No. The boys are back in town. Spread the word around. Everybody knows. Now, when you grew up, did you say Thin Lizzy or did you say Tin Lizzy?
I said both.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always often wonder if people say Thin Lizzy because of the whole Irish TH problem. Right.
Tin Lizzy.
Right.
Tin Lizzy.
Like turd. Right. I'll meet you on the turd. Right. Tin Lizzy. Because I was like, could be.
It's amazing for Ireland because Tin Lizzy, by the way, anybody in the chat who doesn't know, which I'm sure you all do, but just in case, was a rock band from Ireland, one of the greatest bands to ever come out of Ireland. If I can find a decent photo now that doesn't give me any shit. And they were back in the 70s and 80s. They were fucking amazing, great guitar solos. I think they're respected by everybody in the music biz.
They are respected by everybody.
But their lead singer, you know, the Irish get a lot of shit for being racist, and there was a lot of racism in Ireland, sure. But I never took it that seriously. They were just fucking around. Like, the Irish are always messing. They're always just joking. But as you can see, guys, the lead singer, the front man of this band, and this is not 2020, 2010, 2000s, the 90s, barely the 80s. This is the 70s and 80s in Ireland.
And he was
very
black.
white country. And he was black with a big fro and a Dublin accent. There's a statue of him in Dublin City, and everybody respects Phil Lynott, or Lynott, as people say. We say Phil Lynott. Do we
know what it is? I always said Phil Lynott, but is it Lynott?
I think it's Phil Lynott, but whatever. Doesn't really matter.
Lynott.
There's a statue of him outside a very famous pub there, and everybody says respect for Philo. Like, he precedes Bono. This was our rock god, and he was a skinny black Dubliner with a thick Dublin accent. And you can't touch Philo. You say a thing about Philo and, you know, you're crushed by the Irish because we adore him. He's one of our gods. He's one of our kings.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a black man. So there you go.
And nobody could phrase like that motherfucker. His phrasing was incredible. It was conversational, incredible.
And his writing.
Yeah,
his writing.
He
wrote that beautiful song, Sarah, about his daughter. Yeah, his high bass. He wrote that song, Sarah, about his daughter. It's one of the most beautiful daughter songs. That and Stevie Wonder's "Isn't She Lovely?" For me, they're the two. It's about? I didn't know that. Isn't she lovely? About his daughter. Like, to write a song like that about your daughter. Sarah is the name of the song. You should look it up, guys. It's very beautiful. I'd play a clip, but I'm afraid to get shut down. So.
I love that other picture you had before with, like, look at Gary Moore. He's playing that guitar that was sold, that Kirk Hammett now owns. That one right there. Look at Gary Moore. Look at, he's got like a 12-inch waist, and he's playing that guitar is now the property of Kirk Hammett from Metallica, and he bought it for $2 million.
Wow.
And that was owned by Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac, who gave it to him. I think he charged him like £200, Irish pounds back in the day. Actually, it would have been British pounds because they're from Belfast.
Well, he's from Belfast. Gary Moore.
Yeah, Gary Moore.
Phil is from Dublin. The rest of the band is from the Republic. Yeah. Gary is from the north.
From Belfast. Yeah.
Still a lot of people's favorite guitarists of all time. Look at these guys. They're fucking rock gods, man. Such great songs. Beautiful, powerful music.
Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak.
This must be some reunion or something.
Town. So me and the boys, we like it.
Amazing.
Around. Don't you be around. You just think about them. Fucking in those days, it was like kicking around where, fucking St. James Gate or fucking Temple Bar, where all the fucking nasty shit was back then.
It was over on Capel Street. That was back then. Capel Street was where they did a lot of gigs. We gigged one place there. Can't remember the name of it. On Capel Street. It was a big thing. Thin Lizzy on the wall, reverse mirror thing, and respect for Philo, because of course when did he die? 1981, 82?
No. 90, right?
Really? Was it that late?
It was later than that. Hold on. Phil.
Look it up. I'll look up the chat while we're doing
it. Sorry, 86. Shit.
There you go.
Because he did that great song, that great duo. Because Gary Moore had a solo career by that time. He did that song "Out in the Streets" with Gary Moore. Remember that?
I bought that single.
Oh fuck!
That was the first single I bought. I remember my mom berating me because she's like, because it hit the news that Phil was doing drugs. And I was thinking, even back then in my innocence, I'm thinking, don't all rock stars do drugs? But he died, and I had bought that single, and it came on a paper. You know those old things?
I have it here.
There were a leaf, like it was a square leaf with the thing cut out in the middle. And I bought it for like 99 cents. It's probably all the money I had in the world. And it was Out in the Fields with Gary Moore and Phil in it.
Yeah.
I mean, man, going like, oh, you know where that money probably went? It probably went to his drug habit. I was like, I don't care, ma. It's a good tune.
I saw Gary Moore on this tour because I was a big Gary fan. I was huge. I saw him at Lemoore in Brooklyn, the famous rock venue. But this song, it's a duet with the two of them, and like Phil's like, it doesn't matter if you're wrong or if you're right. It makes no difference if you're black or if you're white. It's a great little fucking thing.
That's a great lyric. I mean, it's simple as fuck.
It just says it. And then Gary comes in with a big tenor, all men are equal till the victory is won. Oh, I love that song. Forgot how much I liked
he was our Jimi Hendrix. He really was. He was such a legend, and I'm proud of my people for just not ever bringing up the fact that he was a fucking black man with a big afro.
No one ever talks about him being black.
Nobody gave a shit. He was a legend, and that's all that mattered, which was beautiful. It was my first lessons. Why would you? Of course, shit, man. We're still arguing about that shit all these years later. Think about it. It's pathetic.
It's so funny because his genetic makeup is so irrelevant with his contribution to the world and to music is, it just makes no sense. That's saying, he had a club foot. Who cares?
Ireland is still quite multicultural. It's becoming more multicultural. There's a lot of Ukrainians. There are 87,000 Ukrainians in Ireland now.
Yeah, I heard that.
Ireland used
to be Poles.
Yeah, and before that, Brazilians. There are 90,000 Brazilians in Ireland. Yeah, they opened their floodgates for the Brazilians.
When did that happen?
Maybe about 10 years ago. Jeez. A Brazilian could come into the country and go to college and work. And I met a lot of Brazilian people I chatted up some Brazilian girl in a phone store getting my phone glass replaced one time. there in the Stevens Green Shopping Center. I got talking to her, and she's from Brazil.
And
I was like, that's so funny, man. But then I thought, you know what? That we need that in Ireland.
You've never had any flavor in your fucking life. And I used to tell anyone who I would meet that was, of color, of flavor, I'd be like, you want to get laid? Go to Ireland. They'll see you and they'll be like, you won't make it out alive. I had a friend.
You got a tan, you got brown eyes. You don't have freckles all over your body. Forget it. You're laid. You're laid instantly.
They see a Nigerian guy, but Brazilians, listen, I'm going to be crass here. Brazilians love to fuck. They're very horny, very sensual, very sexual people. I've known a ton of them. They're all
there's like a billion of them.
Yeah, they're very free about their sexuality. Imagine Ireland getting that happen. Like usually it's like the guy will always choose the pint over the girl in fucking Dublin. Fucking the lads and the fucking drink. But not the girl that came from fucking from Sao Paulo.
It might have helped us with the drink actually. It's like, I can have 14 pints of Guinness and 16 whiskeys, or I can go home with her now. I'll have 1 pint and go home with her now. I just feel like the Irish needed it because we've been screwing each other for far too long, and the shit is getting bad. Like the genetics is getting really, really bad. You need to shuffle the deck. That's why beautiful people are always like Japanese mom and an American dad or whatever. You need to, just change it. Look at my daughter. She's a vision. So here in Ireland, they think she looks like a Disney character because her eyes are too big for her face. That's Lydia. She looks like a cartoon character, like a Disney character. So the Italians, she got brown eyes. She didn't get my green eyes, which is unfortunate in some ways. But if she goes to Ireland, she's kind of got the best of both worlds.
I love big brown eyes. I know Tobster McDonkey is just trying to be a dick, but Mohammed is the most common baby name in half of the counties of Ireland. Congrats, you've been colonized.
Fine by me. You know what? The Irish went and colonized, or not colonized, but we went all around the world. There's 30-40 million Irish in America.
The Irish diaspora is like 200 times the size of the population of Ireland. There's like 250 million Irish people in America, and there's 4.5 million people in Ireland.
No, there's about 7.
Is there 7 now?
There's about 6 or 7.
I would like to know how come when I was born there were 4 billion people in the world. Now there's 9. We have condoms and contraceptives, and we have abortion. And we don't have big families, and people have careers. Who is doing all the fucking?
We did a live stream last night, myself and Simone Frollo.
I watched it.
I made it members only. He has 7 kids, but by God, they're all stunning. Gloria came along at the very end of the nighttime.
Was that his daughter?
That's his daughter. I mean, she's
a guy
vision.
With the floppy hair.
And the dude with the floppy hair, her boyfriend or whatever he is, they were on a date or something. That's his daughter. And you want to see, like, one of his sons is a model. Like, he works as a model. He's beautiful looking. And the rest of them are all, they're all good looking. And the youngest she's a ballerina. I was like, you know what? Sometimes I might say, it's that Larry David sketch, like, they have 9 children, and somebody at the dinner table is like, "Oh, that's so nice. You have 9 children." And Larry David goes, "That's a bit arrogant, though, isn't it? It's a bit." He's like, "I just want more of me out there. I want more of me 100%. In the world."
I think it's so.
I'm
ridiculous.
normal. Yeah, it is ridiculous. I'm normally like that, but then with Simone, I'm like, you know what? Just keep making them, man, because fuck me.
He's making beautiful people.
Stop
making the ugly ones, okay? I mean,
just like Jesus.
The planet is in so much danger because of overpopulation.
Not according to Elon Musk. Elon Musk says the contrary, by the way. I know he's a fucking lunatic, but he apparently says that we're actually threatened by underpopulation. Of course, he's a defeatist and he's a neguista, as they would say here. He always likes to take the opposite opinion, but
no, anyway. We're ruining the planet. There's too many people. They're eating too much shit. There's too much waste. There's too much carbon dioxide. There's too much all of that shit.
So much garbage in
There's
the
too much
oceans.
garbage.
Too many plastic cans, aerosol
We're
cans
using
floating
too much
around.
stuff. It's not the people per se; it's the waste. It's the oxygen, and eventually, what's going to happen is that movie WALL-E, where the glutinous fat pigs are all. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I just read in the side chat that.
Okay, I need to read it first. Crypto 7. Anthony is quitting YouTube. He's referring to Anthony Ferrer. Anthony quit YouTube 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and then he
he's
came back
milking it.
strong. It's all bullshit.
He's all
We can't believe a word the guy says.
Stop
at this
paying
point.
attention to that charlatan. Stop it.
Thank you.
That's the way to end it. Just stop it. It's like, don't stop listening to your daughter's rapist because he said he didn't do it when he did. You know what I mean? You wouldn't talk to that guy. Stop it with this guy. He's wasting all of our time, and he's losing a lot of people's money. And you could be next. It's called. Daniel Gutierrez says it's called My Last Video on YouTube. Can somebody just text on there and go, finally?
Yeah, or we'll
No
see
one
tomorrow
should be.
when you sober up or whatever. He's full of manic ideas, manic impressions. It sounds like mania. It sounds like, oh, I'm giving it up. I'm never talking to my sister again. Meanwhile, a week later, do you have $1,000? I need a loan. It's like, oh fuck, you're full of shit.
He's so dramatic.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's just so transparent. Oh my God, we've seen it all. Terrible. No one cares.
Can you believe it? We're all talking about the fucking Egypt again.
Yeah.
Fucking
No.
hell.
Yeah. Next. There's no reason to talk about him. No.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna did you watch the video that I sent you where the cop talks about what a crazy?
No, I didn't watch it yet.
Watch it. It's great. Everybody should watch it. Should I put the link on here?
Yeah, in the chat. Why not? Some cop talks about whether he's a crazy person or not.
Talks about how he's just a fucking criminal. And it's like there's no rehabilitation for a criminal like that.
Daniel, no TPG on SWAT. Listen, if he wants to do SWAT, I'll do it because I'm not going to be all nicey nice. I think you've learned that by now, Daniel. I'm not going to be all like, so how was your journey through watches? I'll be David Frost with Nixon, okay? Mm-hmm. You trust me to do that? Because that's what Paul Thorpe was supposed to be over a year ago, and he didn't do it. He soft-cocked him, as we all know. I won't soft-cock anyone.
Well, he's the king of that because he's one of those guys that can't stop it. He can't stop being a watch dealer.
Oh, Paul?
Yeah. He can't stop being a watch dealer.
Sharks don't bite sharks, man.
Why is that?
Why don't sharks bite sharks?
Yeah. No, I know.
Because, yeah, you know why. You're being rhetorical. I never get those questions. When you do that and then you laugh, I never get it. Why are the Irish in Ireland so wonderful and overall just good, compassionate people? And the Irish in the east coast of US, like the Boston, the opposites, mean and racist, who claim they are in touch with their heritage, so confusing. There's a strong one. You want to answer that one?
Why are the Irish in Ireland so wonderful and over just good compassionate people on the Irish and the East Coast, Boston, the opposite, mean and racist? Because they're Irish Americans, and there's a very big difference. Because they're the utter gutter trash of the diaspora. I think all the fucking, listen, the whole population of Australia at one point was Irish criminals and British criminals. They went down there. It was a penal colony. Mm-hmm. And the Boston Irish, I've never bet. They're knackers. They're just, you meet them and there's a very, very big difference between Irish people and Irish Americans. And now, like, he's an Irish person. I'm an Irish American, but I spent a whole shitload of my childhood in Ireland. So, I'm confused. So, but like, there are people that are 6 generations back Irish American. They're as Irish as all the Jews and Italians, and there's nothing other than their genetic background. That's it. There's no connection to Ireland. So they don't have the same kind of makeup that Irish people have. I'll tell you a funny story real quick. Years and years ago, we're in an Enniscrone, my whole family, before, when my parents were still alive and everything was great. We rented a caravan. We started in Dublin, went around to all our family up the west to Sligo, and we went to the old house, And my mother wanted to see it, and we knocked on the door, and who answered it but Mrs. Ford, the woman who bought the house. And she's like, oh, I just put a kettle on. Everyone come in. So the whole fucking family sat down in Mrs. Ford's house that no one had stepped foot in 35 years. And then she put a roast on and baked some biscuits for everyone. That's the Irish. Yeah. That's what they do. In Boston, you'll get stabbed.
Different kinds, yeah.
It's not the same. They're Americans. They have Irish heritage.
It's like comparing a African American to someone from the
Nigeria.
Ivory Coast, Nigeria or somewhere. It's a different. It's a different people. You know, everybody's saying TPG is gone, gone for good, etc., etc. Until somebody said he threw in the towel. Yeah. He's going to pick the towel up again in a few days. Just a few lines of coke away from that.
He'll be back. He's just going to
Benzo said it. Thank you for the super chat, Benzo, and thank you for the super chat, Spaniard. Very much appreciated. $20 is nice.
Irish, go to Ireland. Watch. It's called Ireland of the Welcomes. That's the official slogan of Ireland, because you cannot believe how incredibly friendly you won't meet people that aren't. It's very rare. They're just so welcoming and helpful and not judgmental and none of those things.
Well, it's a big joke about especially the Dubliners, but it happens across Ireland. And we're probably the least nice of all of Ireland, in fairness, because it's a big city. It's like New Yorkers. We're in a hurry, right? But when you ask for directions as a foreigner, the Irish won't give you directions. They'll say, oh, I'm walking that way. Come on with me. I'll show you. I'll walk the extra few blocks and show you where you need to go. That's the Irish spirit.
Yeah. It's true.
I'll never forget when I was a kid, because my Swedish connection with my uncle moved to Sweden many, many years ago. And my cousin, who was essentially Swedish, grew up in a Swedish culture. He now lives in Ireland and probably the sweetest person on earth. Came over, and he came over with his scout group, and there was 18 of them or something, 19. And he calls out of the blue. We had a difficult family connection. I don't need to go into it, but it was difficult. And he was with his scouts, and he was 16 years old or 17. And he calls out of the blue. My mom answers the phone, and he goes, "Can we stay at your home? We are 19." He says, because his English wasn't perfect. We are 19. Or something like that, or we are 12, or it was a huge number. My ma goes, sure. We were a little 3-bedroom house, there was 5 kids, 7 of us, and we put them up, and all of a sudden we had all these Swedish scouts in sleeping bags in the front room and in the back room and in the hallway. And my ma's there rustling up like sausages and eggs for all of these Swedes. You'd imagine, can you imagine that in Italy? The Italians would be like, oh, no, I can't do that. Ma, cosa vuoi? Mi metti al disagio. You put me in a difficult spot. But, my ma just went for it. And we all just rolled with it. We're just giving people, we're just nice. Fuck it. We're nice people. We have our flaws. We have a problem with the drink. Fine. Man, we're just good people. We just are. We're just built that way. I'm sorry. And one of the biggest lessons I learned leaving Ireland was finding mean people, especially older women, like old women in the supermarket who'll push you out of the way to get in line. I never saw that in my life. An old woman in Ireland is the sweetest little angel. Oh, Jesus, I won't get in your way. And, oh, sorry, son. Whereas the old Italian women with their fur coats on here are like, get out of my fucking way. Like, I never saw that before. It was like a huge culture shock for me.
Faccia brutta strega.
They're good. The Italians are great people, but man, oh man, they have, they're mean spirited. So they fought to, survive. So did the Irish, but for some reason we came out on the other side. We're just too fucking nice. My guess is back when the English were taking over the whole fucking country 800 years ago, that the Irish were like, oh, okay, sure, come on in, take our house. Like, it took them a while to figure out we were being fucked by the British. It probably didn't occur. They were probably making cups of tea for these Brits that were taking over their land.
Sure that they were.
Yeah, that's my guess. But I have a thing.
Nice guys finished last. That's what happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
But
that's your answer.
Little...
Boston. I never loved that town. Forgive me if any of you guys are from Boston, but it's not a city. It's a town. I guess that's why it's called the town.
It's a lot of little towns, right?
It's a lot of little knackers in there, and a lot of
Quincy and Braintree. All these little towns.
Yeah. Cambridge and yeah.
It's like splintered up. There's a downtown Boston, but I don't know who's there. It's like a bunch of like financial buildings. But I don't know.
When you live in New York City, when you go to other cities that aren't foreign, like Philly is a shithole and Boston is for knackers, and you go to these other towns and you get like,
I'm gonna lose so many subs now, but I don't care.
You know what I mean? I mean it with love. And the thing about Philly is, the first time I went there for some of Paul's SS United States shebang, and I remember going, "Oh my God!" Clock the doors on the car, thinking, "Oh my God, we're going to be murdered," and because we went in on the deep end, down by the docks where Cardi B strip clubs are, and then I saw the pretty side of Philadelphia and grew to really, really like it. To be fair, Boston, I have not spent enough time. However, I did stay at the Ritz-Carlton, and I did stay in the best part of town, across the street from the Botanical Gardens. And we tried to get brunch, which they don't do in Boston. There's no brunch on the weekends. You can't, and the bars close.
It's not like New York. It's not like New York. There are a couple of brunch places. I went with my sister who lives there, my youngest sister. My younger sister, because I have one older and one younger. She brought me to a couple of very, very nice places, great food. She showed me some, she loves Boston and she loves the surrounding areas, and she showed me around. But I remember saying to her, I haven't seen anyone black. I haven't seen any black people yet.
Well,
I'm in New York City. No, don't say that. No, but I just everyone was pudgy and white, everywhere I looked. And it was weird because it was only 5 hours drive from New York City. Meanwhile, she'd come down to New York, and she was single at the time, and she was like, oh my God, he's hot, he's hot, he's hot, he's hot. I was like, yeah, we have hot people in this city. We have good looking men and women in this town, and you'll find them from all over the world.
Sure.
You're not going to find them, they fly from everywhere to New York City, all the models and everyone.
This is a melting pot of where all the beautiful people come. It's a beautiful city.
So how do you feel How do you feel about moving out of there? I mean, if that ever happens.
It's going to happen, and I'll be glad to do it. When
You're
the time is right.
It after a year?
I'm not saying I'm not going to come back. I'm not saying permanently. We plan on having dual residences for a while. That's the plan.
You can fly back anytime you want. You're a citizen.
Right. That's the plan.
It's the cost of a plane ticket.
And then just when it's time to call it a day. Because, the whole idea of moving your entire life in one fell swoop is kind of impossible. The whole idea of it. You're going to have to
do it in stages, man.
Yeah, in stages.
It's a migration, not a... If you do it in one fell swoop, that's going to be very, very fucking stressful.
Yeah, and we're not going to do it that way. It's going to be,
it's going to be moving, slowly.
By bit, by bit. Name that song, anybody. So, I look forward to the twilight of my years sipping a select spritz or a Shacarato or a Cafe Doppio in a piazza, on la spiaggia, all that shit. I want all.
I was in a supermarket earlier, and there was a couple who just couldn't understand what the lady was saying behind the till. She was saying 550. She was saying 550. She was pointing at the thing 550, and they simply could not fathom what on earth she was saying. And I was standing in line. I was like, 550.
54.
And they went, oh, fuck, okay, 550. And I thought to myself, Dirk's going to love that shit when he's here in Italy, just like helping American tourists out with their lingo.
Yeah,
You're going
as
to be
I gather
sewing.
all the local shit. I do
Yeah,
that
you're
to
going to be
everybody
sewing
all
the
the time
front lines.
anyway. Yeah, because I think it's great. You know, I'm constantly teaching Americans adverbs. Use them. Drives me crazy how nobody uses adverbs anymore. I'm like, they're there. Use them.
The Irish are the best, according to Spaniard, the best who come from Ireland. There's a difference, I suppose. Yeah. Hey, listen, I always used to say, but on 9/11, were you Irish American? No, you were American. You know, people got very like, I'm from the USA that day, and they should. And that's right. That's correct. And that was a beautiful moment. There was no crime in New York City for a week. Do you remember? Zero crime for 1 week after 9/11 because the whole city stopped and realized they were together and not against one another. It was a beautiful moment, and it was a terrible moment, the most terrible. But also there was a beauty to it as well because New Yorkers came together. And I thought in that moment, stop telling me you're Irish because you're a fucking American and this is your country. You know what I mean? So sure, your parents or your grandparents, but you know, there is a difference. You know, if you're Irish, what am I? I'm actually born there and grew up there and educated there. So what am I? Irish, Irish, Irish? Like what is the difference?
No, just Irish.
Just Shane McGuirk, $5.99. Thanks so much. Come out, you black and tans. We'll break out any minute. I know we sound very, come out. Yeah, we sound like very Chucky our law, right? We're sounding a little bit IRA, aren't we? That's not cool.
No.
Anyway. Good stuff, man. Shall I let you? I'll let you finish the show.
No,
I'm
we're
out.
finished.
You
No,
finish the show. Fucking you finish the show. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
Bye. Well, that was nice. I didn't know he was going to pop in that early too, because he said he was editing and not getting some stuff done. So did we get everybody in there? All the super chats. If anybody's looking for some good music, Benzo says, check out UK artist Hack Baker. The songs, videos, Conundrum, and The End of the World are really dope. I'm always looking for good new music because I think everybody's so shitty. So sent you an SC, Dirk. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Is that some jargon I'm unaware of? SC, sent you an SC. Sounds good. Thanks, Daniel. You've been great tonight. Thanks everybody for being so nice to me on my solo debut, because it's gonna evolve, because he's got work to do. He's got a lot of editing. He's been taking out too much time from his main body of work, which is filmmaker, making the content for his channel. So I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to have a couple of really special great guests, and we'll talk about stuff. Everybody, as usual, will be way more involved. You guys will be way more involved in the way that the chat gets dictated, left turns, right turns like crazy. We'd love it. And we hope to see you soon. Honey,
SC is a super chat.
Oh, he sent me a super chat.
Okay.
You're listening. He's spying. He sent me a super chat. Well, thank you very much. Did I miss it, Daniel? Oh, that's what I did. I did. There it is. Here's for Dirk's solo debut. Thanks so much. And thanks, Mother Nature, for nurturing us and watching us. And thanks to Sheen for all this fun stuff tonight. So you guys have a great night. And I guess you're all going over to Tim's, as you should, because Tim is a moderator and a man about town and one of our favorite people on this YouTube universe, because he's a great guy, a knowledgeable guy, and he speaks the truth. And that's it. So good night, everybody. And thanks very much. Ciao.